Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our choice lies our growth and our freedom. This quote was said, or this first sentences was said by Viktor Frankl. While he wasn't initially speaking to this week's Parsha, in my mind, it connects exactly and directly to what we read this week. Parsha Kedoshim begins and ends with an imperative, Kedoshim to you shall be holy. At its opening and concluding, though, it adds something else. Tihiyu li Kedoshim. You shall be holy to me, for I, God, am holy. I have set you apart from other peoples to be mine. And it moves from a general call of holiness to a specific designation to be holy to God. This progression at least asks me, or I asked it, what does it mean to be holy to God? The space between the stimulus and a response, I think, in a way, answers that very question. Because in that space, something profound can actually happen in our lives. It's where memories live and maybe even take extra shape. When we encounter a trigger, maybe it's a familiar scent, maybe it's a melody, maybe it's a place, maybe it's an object. There's a moment right before we react. In that moment, we can have those memories arise. Maybe a smell reminds us of the perfume our grandmother once wore, and our grandmother is all of a sudden walking beside us again. In this pause between, we can experience the world and respond to it. We have an opportunity to access something that is sacred. We remember those who went on before us, and we receive a gift, because that memory opens a pathway of connection. What's powerful here isn't just that we remember, but it's how we remember. I learned this morning, actually, when I was at the memorial service, and I found myself chatting with a Methodist minister who said that, and reminded me that all of our memories are unique, which I'm like, yeah. And then she said that she thinks about them like snowflakes. That when we think about our interactions with a specific person, each one of those interactions is different depending on who you are. So you could have a group of 3, each of the 3 are going to remember it slightly differently. And then that memory that you have of the person who went on before is also unique to you. And therefore it's a little bit different. It's just like a snowflake. No 2 snowflakes are the same. And when I was thinking about this too, I realized in relationship to Aaron, he in the Torah, because frequently Kiddushin is tied to Acharei Mot, had just lost his sons Nadav and Abihu. And you can imagine all of the triggers around him reminding him of his sons. And then he has to go worship in the temple where they just were burned up. And then he has to face the community, a community of people who are also asking questions, remembering what it was like to have Nadav and Abihu with them, and wondering what's next. And the Torah, I think, answers the question of what's next by telling us, Kiddushin to you, holy you shall be. Even in your grief, it is incumbent upon you to choose holiness. In wrestling what it means to be holy to God, the answer lies, I think, not just in abstaining from something. It's not just that Aaron saw and walked through the memories of his sons and walked into the temple and didn't cry. It's more that he also did something. Rabbi Aha, a 4th century Aggadic teacher living in northern Israel, taught in Leviticus Rabbah, quote, if a person can protest a wrongdoing of another and does not, or if they can help support students of Torah and do not, such a person is not considered holy. But if a person does protest the wrongdoings of others and does support students of Torah, that person attains holiness. Rabbi Aha was teaching us specifically that holiness is action. It is engagement. It's about using that space between stimulus and response to do something constructive that benefits not just you, but others around us. It's a sentiment that's echoed by the prophet Amos, who's directly tied to this portion, by the rabbis who encourage us to read that as the Haftorah, reminding us as he was speaking out against economic injustice, about taking care of the poor, the widow, that it is not enough for us to go to temple or synagogue. Rather, we must act. We must engage. To be holy is to care for others, Amos might say, if he were standing on this pulpit today. Mary Oliver, who is a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet, further challenges us, similar to Amos, by acting through our deeds towards something better than ourselves. But what I value the most in the poem that she wrote, The Summer Day, is her true vulnerability. When she says, "Tell me what it is you plan to do with one wild and precious life." She begins by wondering in this poem all about creation, kind of making me think about Genesis or even Shabbat prayers, how God made all the world and all the beauty in it. She observes a grasshopper with meticulous attention. It's actually beautiful. I encourage you to look at it after the services tonight. And then comes what I think one of the most profound statements. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I don't know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. She's owning the fact that even for her, even when she's watching the world, even when she's practicing gratitude, even when she's having that stimulus and that space and that response, that it's still one wild and precious life. And there are days when she doesn't know what to do with it and how to be holy. But maybe in her vulnerability, she's reminding us that one of those ways is to notice the world God created with care. And thinking again about that space, I know it's a challenge because many of us can be overwhelmed by our emotions. Many of us can be frightened by the memories. Or many of us maybe just might freeze. But Viktor Frankl teaches us that that's that moment to be. So, my friends, in the space between stimulus and response are opportunities for holiness. That's where our memories of those who came before us connect us with our family. It's that space where we can choose to have our actions protest wrongdoings, support learning, like Rabbi Aha suggests, or help us choose to pay more attention to the world around us, as Mary Oliver persuades us in her poem. As we navigate the challenges of the world today, may we always remember the power we have in the space between the stimulus and the response. May we choose to act with compassion, to pay attention with reverence, to see with God's vision of holiness and diversity. For in doing so, we fulfill the commandment of Parshat Kedushin, to be holy and to be holy to God. Tell me what you will do with your one precious life. How will you be holy to God?